Okay, so let's get our ingredients all laid out to start with. Today you're going to need a red onion, a white onion, 4 cloves of garlic, less if you prefer, a large red pepper, a carrot, and about 7 decent sized chestnut mushrooms, or mushrooms of your choice. Preferably something with a strong flavour, and keep hold of them because they'll run away if they can, like that. As far as herbs and flavourings go, you're going to need some dried basil, thyme and oregano, as well as salt and pepper and red wine vinegar. For our meats, we're going to use soya mince as the bulk of it, and I'm also adding today some smoked tofu cubes. This is just to vary up the texture in the dish and also to give a sort of smoky pop every now and then. You'll also need 2 stock cubes. I've only got one pictured here. This is a Mediterranean one. We'll also be using a standard vegetable one. You need 2 tins of tomatoes, some tomato puree, and last but not least, as much fresh basil as you would like. The more the better in this, as this makes a decent sized dish. Okay, so first we're going to want to prepare all of our veggies, get all our chopping out the way. So because I'm having mine on courgette or courgette noodles, courgette spaghetti, zoodles, whatever you want to call them, I've just spiralised my courgettes and I've used 3 today. And you'll be left with these weird leftover end things. You can just chop them up and add them to soups, stews or anything really. So let's prep the rest of the ingredients. We've got both types of onions, carrots and garlic, pepper and mushrooms, spice mix, both our stock cubes. Our soya mince is ready to go, and our smoked tofu, red wine vinegar, chopped tomatoes and tomato puree. We've also got our fresh basil here. I meant to show you how I chopped it, but I forgot to film it, so sorry about that. I will show you in another video because I always used to hate doing it, but actually it's really easy. Next, prepare your big pot by adding about 1 centimetre of water. As you can see, it doesn't quite reach my first finger joint. I'm just using this instead of oil at the moment. You can absolutely use oil. Add your onions to the sautéing water and get those going for a few minutes. Give them a good mix as well. And then add the carrots and garlic once those onions have started. And you want to stir it all up and leave these cooking for probably up to about 5 minutes at this point. We really want to get them starting to soften. And as you can see, they are bubbling away, so we're adding our red pepper and chestnut mushrooms to the mix. Don't be tempted to add more water in the bottom of your pot at this point, because the mushrooms will release some water of their own. So we're also going to add our herbs, which I will put the exact amounts in the description box below. But this is dried thyme, basil and oregano, sea salt, black pepper and chilli flakes. And I'll put the exact measurements of each of these in the description below. So just add those in, give everything a good stir, and again let it cook for a good few minutes, because we want the mushrooms to release their water. And that's really your indicator, and that will take a different amount of time for everyone. It depends on your pot and heat and so on. But anyway, once they've released their water, add both of your stock cubes. So I just used a Knorr Vegetable stock pot for my other one, and then obviously this Mediterranean inspired one. You can absolutely use 2 normal stock cubes of your choice. I just wanted to mix it up a bit, and I had this one in the cupboard because I bought a load of fancy sounding ones a while ago that were new out and I wanted to try them. And just give everything a good stir. The stock cubes probably won't dissolve completely, but you can try and break them up a bit with this spoon. As you can see, there's not much water in there, and so they're just kind of going to melt. And they will eventually, so once your pot's looking kind of like mine really, it's a few minutes, just chuck in your soya mince. Now this is frozen mince, but I've had it out on the side here for a while, so it's actually mostly starting to defrost. Obviously all that steam is from the little nuggets of ice that are in there. Now you don't have to defrost it first, I just do like to get it out at the beginning of cooking because it just helps things along, and I don't like to add extra water, and I feel like I am. Anyway, also add in your tofu cubes. This tofu is absolutely optional, you don't have to add it. I just had it in the fridge and wanted to make use of it. So once everything's mixed together and it's cooked for a few minutes, it looks like this. And then you want to add in about 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. As you can see, I'm squeezing from the middle. I will sort this out afterwards, but for the purposes of filming, it makes it easier just to squeeze what I can from the tube. So yeah, it's about 2 tablespoons there. So we're going to mix that in, and then we're going to add our tinned tomatoes. So empty them out as best as you can. You want 2 tins, those are 400-gram tins. And we're going to rinse out those tins with water in a minute, so I will show you that when we get there. But for now, just mix everything up together. It's looking good already, to be honest. The nice thing about vegan bolognese or vegan mince-based dishes is, of course, that really you're only heating the meat substitutes. You're not actually cooking them. So at this point, it's just a case of heating everything through and trying to get those flavours to amalgamate rather than cooking as such. So the cooking times are really very variable and optional, and that's why I don't really time my cooking too well. I judge it on how it looks, how it tastes, and when I think it's done. So back to those tomato tins, you just want to use half a tin of water between both tins just to get the tomato residue and a bit of water in there really. So, but yeah, rinse it out. So it's about 1/4 of a tin each, and add that into your big pot. So just put the pot lid halfway over the pot, and we're just going to let things simmer. And you need to let them simmer for about 20 minutes to half an hour. This is just to let all the flavours come together and really reduce that water, but it keeps it nice and moist. It's a good word, isn't it? Moist. So when we're back in the kitchen, we're now going to get our zoodles ready because it's basically all ready to go now. And to prepare the zoodles, I just put them in a frying pan, overheat with nothing else, because they release a lot of water. And you just want to keep moving them around because obviously there's a lot to begin with, but they'll quickly reduce in size and volume, like this. So you can see all that water bubbling, that was just from them. So you want to drain them when they're done enough to your satisfaction. And I just do that with a sieve over the sink. And you can see just how much water is coming out of them, really. It's not the best view, sorry about this. But you can see what I mean. It's really worth draining them because you don't want loads of water in your dish. You can absolutely have this with pasta. I was just trying to save some calories, and also for slimming wheel purposes, this then counts as my speed veg component. Sorry for placing the pan in front of the camera, but you can see I'm using the tongs to squeeze the last of the water out. Just stir in your basil and red wine vinegar, and then you're good to go. Thanks as always for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and let me know if you make this recipe in the comments below. I'm also on Instagram @LifeWillFindAWay. See you next time.